All right, y'all. So I think y'all know how I feel about these topics, right? And before you jump into the comments calling me homophobic or transphobic based on what I see in this video, these are my opinion and my opinion alone. If you don't like what I have to say, then don't watch. You don't have to watch me. You don't have to subscribe to this channel. This is me reacting and giving my opinions on it like always. I have no problem with the gay or trans people. I don't. But if you say or do anything crosses the line with me, I'm gonna have to say so. I'm gonna have to say something regardless. But at the end of the day, I have no problem with y'all. Just don't cross the line with me. That's all I'm asking. So let's hop on to the video.
You endorse the guy? Yeah?
I introduced him. Check. I introduced him.
To the city that night.
Because an endorsement is to say, I need everybody to vote for this, that, and the other. You know, that's an endorsement. I introduced him. I voted for him too.
Yeah, I voted for him.
So,
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't vote for him before, but I don't think I had any choice the way to.
You know, I find it kind of crazy that most black people I see on social media voted for Trump, even though I don't really care for him though, because I just know there's going to be some messed up situations when I see black people are Trump supporters. But like I said, I don't speak on politics. I don't talk politics or anything. But if I see people from the left act stupid, want to cause damage, try to fight people that are Trump supporters for no reason, we're not having a casual conversations, then it's obvious to me that they're going to end up getting their short end of the stick, especially if they want to act stupid in public, especially when we're trying to have a casual conversation without you second guessing of what my opinions were about. Then it's obvious to me that we can never go nowhere in life without people crashing out.
Of Ukraine and the billions and billions going overseas when you're seeing what's going on in this city.
I don't support money going anywhere until home is taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, you don't drive a $500,000 car and your house only worth $100,000. You know what I mean? And it ain't paid for. You know, it's just common sense. It's like, take care of home first. Why are we financing a war in another country over some NATO shit, and we still got homeless veterans in America?
Yeah.
You know, we still
I
got
did not know
people.
that.
We still have bad water pipes. We still got a million other issues that need to be solved right here in America. We got niggas walking in the bathroom behind women, and it was perfectly damn legal. We got men beating the shit out of women in women's sports, and it was perfectly goddamn legal.
Yeah.
We got transgenders or transistors or whatever the fuck they are coming in schools talking to children. What the?
Oh yeah, I remember that happened in 2023. I was just flabbergasted of what I just saw. I did like a couple of duets reactions 2 years ago on TikTok, and my videos have been going viral on Facebook, but I don't do that no more because I've noticed that the views have gone down since then. So I'll just be uploading my videos on TikTok or whatever though. But the thing about drag queens and the trans community talking to kids nowadays is that it's more acceptable than, you know, police officers, leaders of the civil rights movement, and real education teachers that are teaching kids about life and how to accept, you know, society as it is. But there are certain ways that you can do it. And one of the cross-dressers actually said it best. You know, why are these trans and cross-dressers talking to kids? Like, kids don't need to be exposed to that. And when I saw that video, I just knew that I'm glad I'm not the only one that was thinking the same thing. And I'm not trying to be homophobic or anything. I was just agreeing to what he was saying. And it's true. And I blame the parents for not protecting their kids. You know, it's your job as a parent to not, have to be around people like that. Like I said, I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but I'm just like try to have a clear understanding as to why these parents are not protecting their children from society. Especially we have drag queens and cross dressers, coming into schools, talking to kiddos and everything. And I'm not saying that not all of them are like that, but I'm saying that you got to be careful of who you have around. Because 2023 was just crazy. You got trans competing in biological women's sports, teen girls sports, and there was just one story that recently just went viral about a biological female did not want to compete against a transgender male, and so they disqualified her because of it, which is kind of dumb. And Trump did sign the executive order to not allow trans athletes to compete in women's sports, period. And yet somehow they're still doing it. So whatever Trump is doing is not working. And again, I'm not saying that I'm a Trump supporter. I'm all for Trump. I did not vote for him. So don't assume what I'm saying is I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not. I'm just a person that has called it like I see it. And in my opinion, I've said this in my past videos. Trans athletes need to have an Olympic sports for the trans athletes. Whether it's in track and field, martial arts, jiu-jitsu, triathlon, basketball, swimming, you name it. So, for some odd reason, when Trump signed that order, I feel like nothing has worked. And you still having these trans athletes try to compete in biological women's sports. And that's not right. At the end of the day, I think if we were to make the world a better place, we gotta stop with the silliness. We gotta stop with the silliness because this ain't gonna get us anywhere, honestly.
What? I agree with him here. School is supposed to be about math, science, reading, and writing.
Yes.
It's not the state's job
Yes.
to teach your kids about sexual morality. It's not the state's job to teach your kids anything about morality. That's what you're supposed to do at home. And I think that even includes religion. You want your kids to be religious and to reflect your religion. That's something you teach them at home. That's not something you push to be in the school. So I agree with him here. I don't think that there's any place for people to be talking about their sexual orientation in school. I don't think it's necessary, and I think our schools are already failing at the job that they're supposed to do. According to the National Institute of Literacy, so this is all they do, is pay attention to the literacy rates in America. 40% of kids cannot read at a basic level. And there are people that are focusing on getting LGBT.
My thoughts exactly. I think at some point there's lack of accountability on the parents' fault because if there's not any structure at home with the kids, then it's obvious to me that this generation is not only cooked, but they're screwed. We're screwed. Because I feel like back then, when I was growing up, we did not have any of this stuff. It was always education, normal education, math, history, science. And nowadays, I feel like he said, they try to force all of this agenda onto the kids when kids just need to be kids. I mean, then again, there's cell phones, tablets, there's social media. They're going to get exposed to this stuff one way or another. But I think it's the parents' fault, and their job is to teach kids about these things and protect them from harm and danger. Honestly, if I were a parent, I would have probably homeschooled my kid and have them doing online. And I would have been right there with them, just not on screen. Because if they try to get funny with my son or daughter, oh yeah, I'm going to be right there and I'm going to have a say-so. Because I don't play with mine.
Can't read. You want to put the gay books in
I
the
can't
school,
read
but
either
the kids
though,
are
but
not even literate
hey,
enough
at least
to
I'm
read.
trying.
40%. Right? So our school system is failing at the job that they're already supposed to be doing. Morality is already something that's hard to teach, and I don't think it's our school's job or the state's job to be imprinting morality on the kids, and I think that's where we went wrong. Math, science, reading, and writing, in my personal opinion. And by the way, that statistic is 70% for low-income neighborhoods. 70% of kids in low-income neighborhoods are illiterate. These are the people that are going to grow up to vote in this country. So, yeah, I think the school system's already struggling enough. I don't think we need to be focusing on LGBTQ agenda
At
and
all.
putting LGBTQ books in the schools that the kids can't even read anyway,
Yet they're
because
still
you ask them
doing
what
it.
their name is and they go,
And I find it so crazy that every time I go to social media, it's always about parents having issues with the LGBT books and public school libraries that are trying to force all of their ideology and agendas onto the kids. And honestly, I don't blame the parents for feeling that way, because all they want to do is just have the kids go to school and learn, not to focus on things that don't really matter until they get older. Let them decide what they want to do in life when they get older. Don't have them learn this stuff at an early age. That's not right. And you can't be forcing your child to do this and that. That's not how life works. Or better yet, whatever happened to taking your child to church and have them learn about God and have them baptized? You know, without forcing them, you could just teach them. And they'll become better versions of themselves, you know, as they get older by the grace of God. But I think what I'm seeing on social media these days when it comes to topics like this, all I see is just Satan just brewing into the kids. And it's all because of these weirdos, adults like that are trying to whatever, right? And who can forget about the story where two gay fathers, they adopted like two boys. Instead of them trying to raise them, they ended up as in two little boys, and they got locked up for it. And honestly, this is all the judge's fault, because he should have done a background check on to those two men that were in a gay relationship or a gay marriage. He should have done that a long time ago, because I've stated this before. You got to be careful of who you have kids around, because we don't know what certain adults have certain types of attentions with our children. And I know that not all people are like that. Not all of them are like that. I'm talking about the ones that are sick, twisted, sex sadistic, that have a dark, dirty mind ways of thinking like that, you know?
What the fuck? How the fuck did we get here?
Right.
At this point, America, we got a goddamn problem. And clearly we can see now what it is.
Yeah.
All the money and resources that needed for America is being sent everywhere else.
Tara, let me ask you then. I did back of the envelope calculation for about $5 billion. The 40,000 homeless vets in this country, we could, with the land,
Here we go.
we could build them a nice double wide.
Here come the
trailer
fireworks,
for
y'all.
$5 billion. What is the value? You're in Ukraine. What is the value of the Ukraine becoming a constant ward of the United States? Tell us
I
why.
appreciate the question. I'm a little bit thrown back by all the extreme transphobia.
Oh
I don't
boy.
give a fuck about all that. That's,
yeah, out of
he has-
everything that he just said, he's focusing on the transphobia. But because the man said that he doesn't want men in wigs to come into the schools and try to teach kids
Exactly.
about sexual morality and read to kids.
And he had every right to
What
say
does that
that.
have to do with transphobia? Since when did you become transphobic for not wanting these types of people to be in your life? Or
Exactly.
to be able to indoctrinate.
Man, look, I have some gay friends and teachers in my life, and you don't see me ever being transphobic or homophobic with them. No. If I have opinion about certain things that I don't like and like about the community, then it is my right to speak on it. So just because I said one thing or another thing, that doesn't make me trans or homophobic. Y'all gotta get that stuff out of your minds, because it's somebody that is trying to speak about facts about. No. Let me backtrack what I'm trying to say. Just because I say something about the reality of certain communities that I like and dislike. That doesn't make me homophobic or transphobic. You know, like I said, I got some friends and some like teachers from Goodwill that are gay. They were cool. You know what I'm saying? That's why, I had lunch with them every day. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't being transphobic or anything. I never was. But if I'm speaking about facts, about what I want my children to be around certain people, the ones that I trust, that doesn't make me transphobic or homophobic or anything because I said this and that. They always think one way or another about what people say, what straight people are saying. It's like you can't even take 5 minutes or 5 seconds without listening to what I was trying to say, and you're calling me transphobic or homophobic of what I said. Facts are facts.
Since when was it transphobia for me to say politically you could do? I agree that you should be able to do whatever you want. If you want to go do this sexually, if you want to go identify as a dog, do whatever you want to do. But I just don't want that imprinted onto my kids. Since when did that become transphobia?
That's ridiculous.
Silly.
You a question about something else. You ain't got to come back and what the fuck I just said.
Well, I find it pretty interesting that you talk about.
You just got asked a question and you still talking to me, bro. I answer my question to him. You
better crash out.
Talk to Charlie, bro.
I get a right to respond to you. That I'm just.
You don't got. I ain't asked you a motherfucking thing. You ain't got to respond to me. Talk to Charlie.
Well, that's fine.
He asked you a question. I ain't asked you, bro.
Secondly, you voted for
See,
it.
still fucking
The
talking.
woman got out of there. The woman that left. Oh, she back.
I'm not.
Look, she got her coffee. You know she ready for the smoke.
Dog got to say he started off wrong. I don't know, Trick. Tell me about you.
Well, sir,
Wait. What did he say?
Now that I was, so you
I'm not here to talk to him, bro. I'm here to talk to you. I don't want to hear shit dog got to say. He started off wrong. I don't know.
Did he say homophobic niggas? Oh no. No, he did not just say that. Homophobic niggas? Wow, bro. You came into the live stream and here I thought we were going to have a casual conversation about this topic, but saying she wants to come here and start some stuff, then it's going to be something. And since he started it, Trick is finna finish it. And Homegirl came on here live with whatever she's drinking, coffee or tea or whatever. That's how you know she was here for the smoke. Bruh, this is gold.
I was trying to be polite, sir, but now that I was, so you okay. So is it really?
Look, you pissed them off now.
Why are you?
You pissed them off now.
Let's see what he said.
How am I supposed to sit here and deal with the extreme transphobia?
Extreme transphobia. That is extreme transphobia, by the way. This is extreme.
What exactly did he say that was transphobic?
Just to say them. That is an example of extreme transphobia. So what do you call it when somebody literally harms a trans kid?
That's dumb.
This is extreme transphobia.
Why are you so? Why your verbal language? Wow. Wow.
Nigga, I don't want to hear that shit. You don't run shit here, nigga.
Uh-oh, you pissed them off.
Tell me how to think or how to talk. Nigga, do your fucking job. You don't got a bitch ass man to say. You can shut the fuck up, nigga, and keep talking to this man.
Oh, I feel bad for the white guy because he's hearing the N-words and everything.
Wow. You can't. I find it so interesting that you have so little self-control about you. Wow. Wow. This is just so interesting.
Okay, I'm looking at both sides on this. One, Trick crashed out in the live stream because Terrell came in and started some stuff. And I do agree that I think Trick just needs to calm down for a moment and just rethink for a little bit. But Terrell, I feel like if you're not willing to have a casual conversation with someone about this topic without being offended by it for like 5 seconds, then it's obvious to me that you're doing something wrong. Because you're the type of person that I know you're a far left. That anytime when somebody has a casual conversation with you about this, you easily get offended real quick. That's how you know that you came to the wrong stream. Oh my God, this is crazy.
It's like that. You lack so much emotional self-control. You don't tell no motherfucking body how to think. Where the fuck you get I wasn't saying anything. I'm saying that.
But you accuse someone of being transphobic. That's like telling people how to talk and anything.
Any fucking body talk,
right.
Dog.
What makes you the moral authority?
Well, I found that interesting because
who made you the moral authority to tell anybody how to talk? Where the f do you get your positioning to tell anybody how to talk? I'll
exactly.
wait now.
Oh well,
I didn't think so, nigga. Now, if you will, answer Charlie.
If this aired on TV, I think the ratings would have gone up like crazy. Like numbers would have like ran up to like 1 billion because of Trick and this crazy iconic crash out moment. Oh my God, this is crazy.
Stop talking to me. I ain't here to conversate with you, homie.
Transphobia. Would you be?
I don't give a fuck about what you talk about. Trans
yeah, go.
these nuts, nigga. Shut the fuck up, dog. You talking to me because you out of place, dog. You talking to me, and this man asked you a question. You out of place.
Look at the host.
You don't get to tell me how to
He
think.
said transform my nuts. Oh my God.
Nothing about me. You stated that from the beginning. So at this point, me and you have no dialogue, bro. You started off wrong. You started it wrong. When he told you about
this might be my favorite video of 2025. Like this is just pure comedy, bro.
And I was joking.
Okay, shame on you, nigga. You don't know who I am, and that's cool. I don't expect you to know who I am. But the way you came at me like that,
wow.
Wow. And then now you want to talk about how I talk. Bro, where you get these? Yeah, it makes sense. He in Ukraine. Yeah.
Oh my God. Hey, yo, I'm done. I'm done. Yo, Trick, like, you are the new Crash Out King of 2025, my nigga. Like, I didn't expect you to go crazy on Terrell like that. I just find it funny that how he comes on stream and he goes try to tell people how to talk just because he had an opinion about certain communities and certain people. He did not say anything about hating them. He was speaking on the issues he's having with them around kids in elementary schools. That was his issue he has. He ain't got no problem with them. The same way I don't have a problem with everybody. I just don't pay them no mind. I can just go and mind my business. But if I'm speaking my own opinions about facts and everything, the same way he's doing, of what Terrell is doing, just like the rest of them, they get offended by how a person talks, how they're speaking facts. You're assuming that they're transphobic and everything. That's just like me when I'm speaking truth about why certain such and such about the women's situation, the women's side of things. That doesn't make me misogynist or anything because you'll always say that about a man that try to, well, because y'all, okay. Once again, that's just like me when I say something bad, y'all. I think what I was trying to say is that you can't get mad at people from speaking the truth. Stop calling them misogynist, transphobic, homophobic because they were speaking on facts on facts. That doesn't mean that they're what you call us. That's not really true. And if you don't know the definition of those words, then I will advise you to stop calling us that before you say something you're going to regret. Because if you're going to call us misogynist for speaking the truth, then it's obviously mean that you already lost the conversation. You already lost in battle. Trick had every right to go on for Terrell like that because who are you to come into the stream and tell him how to talk, how to address certain people when you don't even know them in person? He said what he said and you're offended by that? Y'all gotta wake up, America.
How to talk, dog.
I'll answer the question now that I've dealt with this transphobia. And then
how to talk about nothing. Nobody.
So why don't you just repeat the question?
James,
I've dealt with that
Trump has halted weapons.
Yeah, man, transphobia these nuts. And that's the group of black men that came
Oh
before me.
Lord.
Man, everybody know in the African American community, this stuff don't fly. You talking about a culture of people that make fun of each other
Yeah,
because
bro.
we have on shoes. We have on the wrong pair of shoes. If the logo on your shoes look bad, black people gonna make fun of you about it. And you think that you a boy
Regardless.
that want to go into the girls' bathroom and you ain't gonna get made fun of in the black community? And if you get made fun of, it is extreme transphobia? Yeah, man, trans these nuts, man. I'm 30 years old and I can barely understand it. So the fact that Trick probably about
Same,
40,
and I'm
50
34.
years old, I know he don't understand it and he don't care to understand it. He come from a different world. And those are just the gentlemen that came before us. There were certain things you talked about, there are certain things you didn't talk about. And you're not going to sit there and go back and forth or argue about semantics and dumb stuff like a man in a wig being in a school being able to teach kids. I think nowadays sometimes people just need everything explained, and there's some things that don't need to be explained. There's no benefit of having a trans man in a school trying to teach morality or sexual morality to your kids. It's not valuable. And so in my opinion, I think Trick was right. You could say he expressed it wrong. You could say he was yelling, he was argumentative. I understand all of those things. But again, he comes from a group of people that don't care they don't care to understand. They're not here to getting an understanding of what you believe is right or wrong or whatever it may be that people are to do nowadays. There's a 40% illiteracy rate in the schools. And we're talking about transgenderism. We got homeless veterans, and we're talking about giving billions of dollars to other countries that 5 years ago we couldn't point out on a map. So
that's why America is going broke because of it.
Let me know in the comments below if this.
Hey man, shout out to my boy Poor Man Podcast for this amazing video. I had a good time reacting to it. I just think it's silly how we cannot have a casual conversation without people just crashing out all over the internet because this person said this and that. Like, if we could just somehow take 5 minutes of listening to one another, and it's okay to have a few disagreements about this topic and that topic, but that doesn't mean that you just call us something out of nowhere because we had a different opinion. That doesn't mean that we hate you or anything. That's not how life works. If a person that is transphobic or homophobic that really hates gay people, that's considered homophobic and transphobic. A person that is telling the truth about why all of this is going downhill because of what's going on in society when it comes to kids and parents not protecting them from certain ones that have ill intentions with them. That does not make us homophobic. The same way for a man that is telling you about certain things that women cannot do in the workforce or whatever, and some are better than us. They are. But if we're telling you the truth about, like, say if you're doing OnlyFans and you're doing adult films and you thinking that your career is gonna last forever, and if we're telling you the truth and the dangers about what is going on in those companies and why average normal men in the world would not go for women who do sex work for a living, that doesn't make us misogynists. We're just telling you the truth about facts. Y'all gotta stop thinking like that, bruh. That's why the world is the way it is. And you see what happened with Trick and Terrell during a live interview, during the podcast. You see how those two got into it because of what Terrell did. We gotta do better, y'all. So, link to the original video will be down below, and I love y'all. Take care. I'm out.